Okay, for part 2 of C++ file I/O, what I want to do is show you how to first check to see if a file already exists before we write onto it. And the reason we want to do this is because when you write onto a file, you end up erasing all of the information on the file. So it's important to do kind of a little check. So like in the last video, we're going to have to use a library called fstream. And but instead of going straight for the output file, we're gonna kind of first open an input file stream. The reason for that is that allows us to check to see if the file already exists, because you can only open a file if it already exists. For input if it already exists. So first we have an ifstream object, and let's just call it something simple, just infile. And we're simply gonna open it. So infile, and we use, again, like last time, the open method. And we'll use the same name as last time, so output dot text. Okay, so kind of what we really want to do is what we want to check is if we were able to open the file at all. So if we were able to open the file, then it exists. So there's a new method that we learned called the fail. So if it didn't fail, so if infile.fail is the method, then what do we do? Well, then in that case, the file must already have existed. So we should give a message to the user. So cout the file already exists. And then we'll also, well, maybe we'll put an end of line character. And we'll say overwrite. And the user should say yes or no. Okay, so I guess we need to get input from the user. So we should have a string. So we're going to need strings for this exercise. So let's include the string library. And we'll get a line from the user. Let's just call it answer. So let's make a string variable here. Answer. Okay, so so typically what happens is you want to throw an error in some sense if the user does not want to write over the file. So what you do is you say if answer, well, wait, so for strings we don't use the double equal sign to a comparison. We kind of get a little more formal. We use the compare method. So if the user enters no, what we'd like to do is exit the program. And we do that with a function called exit, and we want to return a 1. So normally the main, if it successfully executes, it returns 0. So when there's an error of some sort, we usually return an odd number like 1 or something. So we're gonna return 1, but to use the exit function, we actually need to import the C standard library. So we'll do that right now. So we import the C standard library, and now we can use the exit function. So let's see what we've done. So we've attempted to open the file, and if we didn't fail to open it, then the file must already exist. In that case, we ask the user if they want to overwrite, and if they answer no, we exit, and we return 1 with our exit. So otherwise, we do want to open the file, and we want to write on the file. So what we're going to do in this case is try to get the user to just put lines of text onto the file. So that's our ultimate goal. So to start off, now that we have the file open, the user has decided that they want to write on the file. Let's start an output file stream. So OF stream, just like we did last time. We'll call it out file again, and it's going to have the same name. So really, basically what we're going to do is out file open, and then we're going to put output.txt. Now, it does seem a little bit wasteful to have, to use the open method twice with the same input, right? I mean, it seems like there should be a better way. And one would hope that we could just define a string constant and maybe we could call it file name. And then just have file name be the input to the open method. Okay, but there's a little bit of a problem with this. So the problem with this sort of way of going about things is that we have to have this string in a special format, in a C format, and the usual way to do that is with this C string method. So you have to put this suffix on the end to use the file as an input to the open method. Okay, so now that we have that, oh, well, this is a constant, we should define it, right? So again, we put output.txt. All right, so I mean, now we've checked to see if the file exists. We've checked to see if the user wants to overwrite the file. Supposing the user wants to overwrite the file, we've opened an output file stream, and now we're going to put some text onto the file. But how exactly do we do that? Well, we'll use a while loop to just do, in this case, just to do line by line. And the while loop will always be true, so we're going to have a condition to break. We got to think of a good sentinel for the user to stop adding lines to the file. So why don't we just say uppercase stop? So we can tell the user to enter a line, and then maybe oh, hold on, there we go. Or let's say stop, to break. So that's our sentinel to for the user to stop entering lines. Okay, so let's just get the line that the user enters. Call it line. So I have another string called line. I'll put it over here by answer. So the user enters line, and we put it onto the file. So we go out file, just like we did before, complete line. Well, actually, before we put it onto the file, we might want to check to see if the user entered stop. That might be a good idea. So maybe we'll say if, and again we have to compare strings. So line.compare. If the line, now compare, I didn't mention this before, and I think I have to fix my previous use of compare, but compare returns 0 if the strings are equivalent. So really, if the strings, if we want the if statement to activate if the strings are equivalent, we have to put the not character in front. So I have to do that here too. I forgot to do that. But okay, so if the user enters stop in uppercase, we simply break. Otherwise, we put the line that the user entered onto the file, and then maybe we can be nice and put a little message to the user. The file has been written. Period, and then end of line. Okay, so we can give this one a try to see if there's any mistakes. So let's compile the program. Oh, look, I misspelled. It should be in file, not I file. And okay, so we run the program. The file already exists. Do we overwrite? Let's just say yes. So enter a line. Oh, that's kind of an awkward syntax, but enter a line. Let's say this is a line. Enter another line. Do you like it? And then let's stop here. So stop. Alright, the file has been written. So let's take a look. I'm gonna look at the files in my directory. And let's look at the output file. This is a line, do you like it? Oh, I forgot to put the end lines. That would be kind of useful. So I want it to, every time I enter a line, I want it to also stream in an end line character. So I'll do that here. Alright, good. So it'll go to the next line each time. That's pretty important, come to think of it. Okay, so other than that, it's looking good. So let me go over what we did. What we wanted to do was, before we write onto a file, check to see if it already exists. We do that by opening an input file stream. Again, to check to see if it's successfully opened, we use the fail method. And in order to exit the program if there's an error, we use the exit function, which is found in the C standard library. Then if the user decides that they actually want to open the file and overwrite it, then we open it as an out file. But in order to use the file name as a constant, so we don't have to keep rewriting it over and over again, we use the C-string method in both cases. It just puts it in the proper format to be able to be accepted as input to the open method. Okay, then again we just we get lines from the user and then stream them onto the out file, and then that is it.